changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration. Today is what I like to call Thoughtful Thursday. And I'm sharing today's stories with you because we've got a lot of stories from people who are dealing with addiction and alcoholism. And it's worth sharing these stories in case you are in a position to help someone yourself. We made a book 3 years ago in honor of our 20th anniversary called Chicken Soup for the Soul, Reader's Choice. And we asked our readers to write a story about how one of our old stories helped them. And we got a wonderful story from a woman named Initial J. Fullerton about one of my favorite stories from an old book. And the old book is called Chicken Soup for the Recovering Soul. And the old story sounds too amazing to be true, but it did happen. And it inspired our writer, J. Fullerton, to deal with her alcoholism. Here's what happened in the old story, which was written by a man named Jim, who was treating a woman named Grace in an outpatient chemical dependency group. Grace was a flight attendant, and she had been suspended from her job with a major airline due to her untreated alcoholism. She had been stealing the miniature liquor bottles, drinking at airport bars while in uniform, etc. Her employer realized that she needed treatment, and they suspended her and they sent her to Jim's program. And Grace returned to work shortly after completing the outpatient treatment, but it was earlier than Jim felt she was ready, since as a flight attendant, she would be serving people alcohol all day long. So one day, while she was departing from a plane at the end of a long day, a major craving for alcohol overpowered her. And there she was in the Los Angeles International Airport, pulling her roller bag behind her, when this massive craving hit her. She decided that she would just go to the airport bar, get a drink, and then face the consequences. She knew what was going to happen. She was going to start the cycle all over again. She was going to lose her job. Deep down, she knew she shouldn't do this. She really didn't want to go and take that first drink. She wanted to stay sober. But right then, she was in trouble. And then, on the way to the bar, Grace had a moment of sanity. And she had a moment of brilliance. She stopped, picked up the airport paging phone, and said, "Will you please page friends of Bill W.?" And then she looked around to see where she was, and she said, "Ask them to come to Gate 12." And within minutes, over the paging system in LAX, everyone heard, "Will friends of Bill W. please come to Gate 12? Will friends of Bill W. please come to Gate 12? Now, most people in recovery know that saying you are a friend of Bill W. is a way of identifying yourself as a member of AA. So in less than 5 minutes, there were about 15 people at that gate. And they had a little meeting there with Grace, right in that empty gate. They were total strangers prior to that moment. Grace discovered that 2 of those people had even gotten out of their boarding lines and missed their flights in order to come and help her at Gate 12. They had remembered what they had seen on many walls of many meeting rooms. When anyone, anywhere, reaches out their hand for help, I want the hand of AA to be there, and for that I am responsible. Grace did not take a drink that day. Instead, she realized she could not do it on her own. She took the action of asking for help, and she received that help. So this story had a big impact on our new writer, J. Fullerton. She had been trying to handle her alcoholism in private, and when she read that book, Chicken Soup for the Recovering Soul, and she thought about that story, she realized that she wasn't supposed to conduct her battle in secrecy. She could and should ask for help. Jay says, "I would not be here today if it were not for eye-to-eye, soul-to-soul contact with people who were familiar with my condition and helped me." She concludes her story by saying, "The road to self-respecting freedom begins by telling someone, 'I am powerless, help.'" So that's the power of storytelling, and that's the kind of success that makes all of my hard work so rewarding. I'm Amy Newmark. Thank you for listening to the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast today. I'd be grateful if you would help me spread the word by telling your friends, and please write a review for us on our iTunes page. Tomorrow is Friend Friday, and we happen to be talking to a very successful recovered alcoholic tomorrow, sports agent Lee Steinberg. You all know him as the real Jerry Maguire. Now, if you'd like to read more about the books I mentioned today, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Reader's Choice, or Chicken Soup for the Recovering Soul, please go to our website, chickensoup.com.